Aleksi Bricklow is an artist who is responsible for some of the most iconic pieces of Magic's artwork in the modern era. He is responsible for the original Lorwyn 5 Planeswalkers, that's Ajani, Chandra, Garruk, Jace and Liliana, as well as some of the all-time greats like Lorwyn's Thoughtseize. With Aleksi launching a Kickstarter for the full-scaled extended art Lorwyn 5 Planeswalker playmats, a celebration of their 15-year anniversary within the game, I thought it would be a good chance to sit down with him and ask some questions to get to know the man behind some of the most iconic of Magic art.
So first, thank you for having me. And so my name is Aleksi Bricklow. You asked me about the pronunciation. And basically I'm doing images and I'm building stories and worlds since maybe 20 years now. Let's say concept art for video games and movies. I'm currently working for Marvel Studios since for 6 years now. I did a lot of illustration, not only for Magic, but for a lot of books, RPG and other games. And I even do some few comic books for the French market, as well as some graphic novels from for some US publisher like Todd McFarlane Production.
How long have you been working with Wizards of the Coast to build the worlds of Magic through your art?
I can't remember exactly, but I'm sure that it's been more than 15 years now, because I did the Planeswalker 15 years ago, quick check, and I think Kamigawa was released in 2004.
You've been with the game quite a long time.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the first cards I did. Maybe it was
And Flames of the Bloodhand was one of your two Kamigawa cards, right? Yeah, that's that card takes me back. Do you play MTG at all, Aleksi? Are you a player at all?
I'll be honest, I'm not playing Magic. I've tried several times, but I don't know why. But I'm really into the visual development of it. I could say it's one of my favorite clients. Not only about the fact of just painting fantasy stuff. You know, I'm doing a lot of different things. I like, I don't know, sci-fi, horror, even stories without any fantasy. But I don't know, there is some real long relationship. So there's the cards, there's the Planeswalkers. So the Planeswalkers gave me some kind of, not highlight, as you say, exposure. But I also went to the Wizard of the Coast offices several times for what they call the concept push session. So it's 3 weeks when they hired some freelance artists. They put them in a room for 3 weeks, feeding them, giving them some art notes and stuff. And so it's up to us to develop the world, the look of the upcoming sets. And there is something really refreshing, challenging, you know, being there is some friendship also, because most of the time you don't know the artists around. Maybe you've seen their work, but you don't know personally, and you have to create some relationship, some way to share. And this is something I really like, because most of the time they're giving us just a list of creatures, of characters, and of world. And they don't ask us like, okay, Aleksi, today you are drawing dwarfs, or I don't know, these creatures. No, at first we just picking and picking up the ones we are interested in. You know what I mean? And so we can use some inspiration, and maybe at the end they ask us to refine some. I don't know. Sometimes there is some few creatures or few characters that nobody didn't take. You know what I mean? Maybe because they were looking like the less sexy or less interesting.
Which sets do you know? Which worlds did you do concept push
last time? It was not for Magic. I went there for D&D, but there was some people who were working for Magic. Ixalan, can't remember. You know, we were maybe 6 in the same room, having some movie in the background, you know, on the big TV, and just sharing. There is some people working digitally, some other few. There was a Steve Prescott was drawing traditionally, you know, doing real drawings. And there's something else. There is a huge, a long wall on which we are putting all our stuff. So when I'm finishing some illustration, I'm printing them, and then I putting them on the wall, trying to put them, dividing the wall into 5 different sections for the 5 big not only colors but big faction. Every time you have a look at the wall, there's a lot of people, not only us, but a lot of people of the team who came there in front of the wall to just look at the stuff. And so it's like a world being built, appearing slowly. Like every time you're going there, there's new drawings, and so there is some kind of a really nice excitement to see everything happening. And yeah, that's really a really nice feel.
So you've done many an iconic like format,
things like Sliverlord,
like
Thoughtseize,
you're responsible not only for the Lorwyn 5
cards
that people watching this video will know and recognise. Do you have a favourite piece of artwork besides the original 5 Lorwyn Planeswalkers that you've worked on?
Yeah, I have some that I don't like. I won't tell about them. And there is also the fact that when you're looking at images, work that you've done 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago, or sometimes 2 or 3 years ago, you have a different view.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's.
I mean, I look at videos. It's not the same because your art is a true skill. My videos are pop trash. But I look at videos that I made a year or 2 ago, and I'm like, oh, I would have done that differently. I would have edited that differently. I would have lit that different. Human beings constantly evolve and change, right? Is there one format?
I don't know for you, but for me, there's also different parameters, like the pleasure, the fun you had when you did your video at this time, maybe also something that was happening in your life. Maybe you can remember sometimes sad things or really happy things, happy period. I don't know, something happening in your life. So yeah, I'm just thinking also about the Planeswalker. When I was doing the new extended art, there was in some way some kind of I don't know how to say
nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So like it brings back memories of a time when you were like where you were in life when you first originally conceptualized and painted Chandra and Liliana.
And everything that happened in between.
So that's an interesting question then. So with the original Planeswalkers, the original Lorwyn 5, how long did you get to spend on them from like concept through to submitting them to Wizards to print? Like how long did you spend on all 5?
I can't remember exactly because it's so old now. But I think, let me explain a little bit more. So for the first Planeswalkers, I didn't know what it was about exactly when I did them. I just realized and I noticed that there was a lot more people involved in the loop, in the email loop than usual. So I felt that there was something different from usual. And I started with the just black and white concept, so no colors. It was not finished illustrations. There was no background, so it's much more like what I could do for video games or even movies. So you just focus on the shape, the silhouette, and the character. No mood, nothing. So I was just trying to develop patterns and shapes and few elements to tell to tell the story of each character, and then they approved the black and white sketch. So it was about the first Planeswalkers, Jace, Chandra, Liliana, Garruk, and Ajani, as well as Tezzeret, even if he was released maybe 2 years after. And I think I made him old. And the first release of Tezzeret was not my own illustration. It was from another guy, and it was Tezzeret younger. And so the image I've done was maybe released 2 years after. And there was some things that I just realized after. I'm really into storytelling now. I'm trying to write my own stories and stuff. And I realized that they were trying to strengthen the backstory and the story, trying to link every set they were releasing each year. And so a good way to make the connection was to create some characters. And at least you for telling stories, you need interesting characters. So that was those Planeswalkers, and yeah, I'm really glad and happy that those characters, some of them are still living since 10 years now.
I guess you could tell from those initial emails then there was something special about this project in the sense that, or even not special as in like a soft thing, but you could tell that the company had more invested in these particular characters or pieces of art. You could tell from the email chain that these were potentially main antagonists or protagonists or a story moment that was really important to the brand. You could tell that. Even if they hadn't said that to you, you could tell because there's more people involved.
About the brief art notes, so there was some few connection and few hints of sets from the past, so you can feel that they were trying to anchor those characters in the MTG universe.
Right.
Say, like Ajani had the dead brother. There's some part of the suit of Chandra were coming from Ravnica and so on. So you can feel that there was something strong being built at this time.
Yeah, they were trying to root them in the existing canon.
Yeah.
So was there any of the original 5 that you spent a little bit longer on? Were any of them either because of pushback from Wizards or some redefinement, or you just spent more time in them because the concept was more complicated? Did any of the original 5 get a little bit more time than the others, or were they all roughly the same sort of time?
I don't think so, because I'm a professional. And yeah, I'm joking about that because I got some kind of let's say different techniques to do my work. Like I'm not waiting for some kind of inspirational lightning coming from the sky and hitting me like, oh, I got it, now I can paint those characters. Yeah, I usually started with notes, mind map sometimes, trying to develop connection between worlds. This is something that I'm doing all the time now for Marvel Studios. For each characters or each creatures, I'm doing a lot of researches on the internet, reading about those creatures, but also I don't know, maybe let's say for Chandra, I would look now to fire and maybe think about everything was linked to fire. Like I've told about lightning, maybe lava, maybe a lot of different ideas that would help me in the visual development. And then usually when I'm starting on my computer, it's a good way for me to avoid the fear of the blank page. I've already got some few direction to follow. And when I'm really hardcore, I'm trying to divide my time. Like let's say I should spend 2 hours on one Planeswalker and then move to another one. Except if I'm feeling really, really good with what I'm doing, I'm trying to go further. But it's a good way to meet the deadline. I mean, to have the same amount of polish and of refining on every picture.
So you mentioned about mind mapping and like figuring out like concept as you go with like techniques and structure to your work. Is there anything that you originally came up with yourself, like an original design that's still on one of the Planeswalkers now that you feel proud of? So like, I'm just throwing out examples, like Chandra's known for her goggles, and there's Liliana's headgear, and Garrick's helmet, and the axe, and there's all these parts that have been common through parts of those Planeswalkers. Is there anything that was originally your design that you still see now that you're proud of?
I think there was some information in the art notes, obviously. Yeah, I've tried to develop some kind of visual vocabulary, some patterns. Like let's say for Chandra, it's about some flaming patterns. Then you can see on her suits. For Garruk, I was thinking about using some perpendicular shapes, some kind of square that you can see the same thing on his belt. So it was a good way for me to anchor the tough character, making grounded, linked to the earth. For Jace, it was some kind of ellipsis, like magical, esoterical patterns, some kind of flames.
Yeah, well, I mean that's been a through line for Jace since you painted that, then, because like even other arts of him, he's making that sort of esoteric language in the air with his magic and stuff. So that was your original concept. That wasn't in the notes then.
Small marks on her face and body on my first illustration. and I remember the references I have in mind. Like I think she was dealing with dark magic, and she's some necromancer dealing with life and death. And even if she's looking like some really pretty and beautiful Egyptian queen, she's really old. And so I was thinking about, when you're cutting a tree and you can see on the trunk all those circles, and when you're counting the circles, you can you can know the age of the tree. So there was a bit of this idea, like I was painting all those intricate small pattern on the face and body, and I mixed it with another reference coming from Conan the Barbarian, the first movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And when Conan is almost dead, and they're casting a spell to bring him to life, like he's on the ground, and his body has painted a lot of small black marks on all over his body. You remember? And so I think that was both idea that I tried to mix. I was dealing with the both of them.
Okay, here's one for you then. Was a Johnny always a cat? Like from its earliest days of prompts and art direction, was a Johnny always a cat? Or was that something that came about in the process?
I think it was a big cat since the beginning, and I remember that there was a backstory about maybe a brother or maybe a twin brother, and so that's why I deal with his blind eye, and the scar on the face. So it's a good way to show some kind of loss of there was some battle in the past, and he endured something painful in the past. He lost also something. And I was dealing with his axe with the same idea. Like, there is two different blades on his axe. One is gold and metal. The other is black. And there is some kind of a small lion's heads on each of those blades. And so for me, it was some kind of, some kind of yin and yang symbolism,
right.
Like the true brother linked to some kind of circle, the cycle of life with the blades. The blades themselves are also it's about curves.
Well, leading on from that then, you have worked on some pretty huge projects. Your ArtStation account is a treasure trove of incredible pieces of concept art for lots of different bits of pop culture. Outside of Magic, what project have you had the most fun on outside of Magic?
I like doing different things. I think it's some kind of I'm interested in a lot of different things. It's about curiosity. It's about also learning, growing as an artist, as a person. And
which project is there? A project that you've had the most, like an actual named project, not something that you haven't revealed yet, obviously, but I mean things that have already come out. Was there a movie, comic book, or video game that like ticked all those boxes for you outside of Magic?
So I did comic books. I like it a lot, but it's painful. It's really long. But the big difference, for example, is that when I'm working on Marvel Studios, I'm just part of a big machine, and I really like it. But I can come and I'm concept art, so I can change the story. And even in my work, I'm just doing proposals. I'm doing them at best, the best I can. And on the other side, when I'm dealing about a personal comic books or even some illustration. Let's say for an illustration, I've got the art notes, I'm doing my work, usually it's approved, but there is some changes sometimes asked by the art director, but that's also why maybe in my work I've tried to deal with a lot of different things, like sometimes it's painful to work on a movie or video games, and then I can switch and I can have fun with just an illustration. Currently, I'm working on a big project, a comic book that I wrote, and for me, it will be a good way to show what I can do as a storyteller. So it's all about the narrative technique, storytelling, and I'm really happy with what I'm done. But it's so long. I think the same amount of time of work on each page than on a magic illustration. So yeah, it's some kind of I'm not sure I've answered to your question.
So you find it hard to pick one, then it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I've also co-founded a video games company called Dontnod Entertainment, and we released our first game, Remember Me. Then there was the Life is Strange, but I moved at this time to work with Marvel Studios, so it was something completely different. So it's another big story. So it was not only about this time about painting. It was also about building a company. Building a team, working together, finding investors, finding publisher. So
sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it's completely different. Yeah.
So, on the topic of our personal projects and things, then, tell us a little bit about your Kickstarter that's just launched.
So it's a success so far because we succeed being funded almost the first day. So it's really great. I love working with the team because I'm not working alone on this one, and I've heard a lot of different artists and people in the past who are attracted in doing some Kickstarters, but it's a lot of work, a lot of preparation. So I'm really happy working with those guys. I could say that the first day I was refreshing a lot the page, F5 to see if there is some more change, new people, and so there was some kind of excitement. And I was talking about the fact that I've painted at first those Planeswalkers 15 years ago, and I'm thinking about some things that I've learned from Todd McFarlane. I've just met him twice for real. It's the creator of the Spawn.
Yeah, the creator of Spawn, and he owns the toy company, and
yeah, and before Spider-Man. And so he went in Paris, and I was working on my first Spawn graphic novel for him at this time, but I hadn't finished the book, and so it was not released, and so nobody knew that I did a Spawn graphic novel. But he asked me to join him at a big signing in Paris, so I was really impressed. I got some old photographs. I was really younger. And I was looking at him like, oh shit. You can see on the photo that I'm thinking something like, I'm just sitting next to McFarlane and he's talking to me. He's giving me advices. Wow, crazy. And he was really giving his time and energy to his fans. And he was telling something like, he know where he is now, because of all those people, the fans, and it was really a nice way to think. I don't know exactly how to say, but I just
it's there's a humility to it, right? Like people don't realize that people get to where they are because others are willing to give them the time of day, put money into things like Kickstarters and buying their products and stuff. Like, people need to remember where they came from, and they're propped up by others. Like, I always think this all the time. It's like when people are like, oh, thanks for taking some time to talk to me at GP. I'm like, I wouldn't get to make videos on the internet if you didn't watch my stuff. Like, you owe those people a little bit, even if it's a small amount. Yeah, I get what you mean. And it's cool to hear McFarlane's like that, because obviously he's a big name now, right? He's very big in the space.
Exactly, yeah. And you said it better than me about humility. So yeah, there's a part of me that are feeling really thankful and grateful to all the people who are interested in this Kickstarter, not only a Kickstarter, but my work. So thank you, everybody.
I hope you found that video interesting and informative. I've really enjoyed spending some time with Aleksi and talking about the building, the conceptualization and the building of Magic. If you want to check out his Kickstarter, the link is in the description below. Please like this video and drop some comments down below just telling us what your favourite art from Aleksi is, and just appreciating the art and the world building of Magic, because it really is some of the best in the business. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all soon. Ta-ta for now.